subscription, free internet subscription, free toll gate access, free flight tickets anywhere in the country, loads and loads of free airtime, 50,000 Naira cash reward, and so much more. Now, isn't that a cool way to strike up those pressing needs off your worry list?
It's a smooth way.
www.quickteller.com/delight to find out more. Promos endorsed by the Consumer Protection Council and the National Lottery Regulatory Commission.
QuickTeller. Everyday payments made easy.
With critical focus on the Nigerian economy, we see the bigger picture.
It's making the economy work and grow even faster. Very reasonable price.
Business Express on Smooth 98.1 in collaboration with QuickTeller.
QuickTeller.
You're in time for Business Express. It's live right now with Tosin and a special guest, Valiance. Guest analyst Valiance from Afri Invest comes in. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good to have you in the studio, Valiance. Good morning. And Lagos, you can join the conversation. Go to WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number is 0809-444-0981. That's 0809-444-0981. Or send a message to Twitter with the hashtag BusinessExpress91. Tosin.
Good morning, Lagos, and happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, the stock market rebounded marginally yesterday. It's closing up by 0.1% to finish with 40,802.78 points. Market cap was up by 0.1% to close at 14.73 trillion naira. Year to date, the market is up by 6.7%, 26 gainers, 24 losers. Forty Oil was the top gainer, up by 10.2% to close at 43 naira 30 kobo. Fitson Healthcare was the top loser. It's down by 9.6% to close at 5 naira 46 kobo. The FX parallel market rate closed at 363 naira per dollar. Valiance, talk to me. This time last year, the I&E window was open. Prior to this, the CBN made a U-turn regards to its currency policy. I mean, following the widening of the FX market, we saw that the foreign exchange was everywhere prior to this policy came through. And now it's been a year after, we've seen some sustainability. Do you think this is going to continue in this path?
So given the fact that the I&E window was actually created this time last year for foreign investors to actually have a market where they can easily exchange foreign exchange, while also participating in both the local equities and fixed income markets. I think it was a welcome development, given the fact that prior to the creation of the I&E window, there was an FX liquidity crunch, so people come in, they want to invest, but they don't have access to foreign exchange. For our local manufacturers that need foreign exchange to actually purchase raw materials and all, it was a drag, so the CBN came up with this policy, and so far it has been largely positive, given the fact that since the creation of the I&E window, the daily turnover has been steadily increasing, and it means that there is more foreign participation in the market, and it's a good thing for Nigeria at the end of the day.
I mean, there's talk on the street saying that, we are approaching a policy, and we are approaching an election year. And are we going to see the naira keep staying stable? Do you think?
Yes, the naira is nothing. So in the near term, nothing. We don't think there's any shock that is going to really affect the naira, given the fact that the CBN has sustained its weekly intervention in the foreign exchange market. They always come in to intervene to make sure that liquidity levels are stable and the like. And also, the CBN is also the net buyer in the I&E window. That means they are the ones pulling out the bulk of the dollar. So we have enough buffers in our external reserves to actually guard the naira in the event of any shock.
So Valiance is saying, don't panic, don't go hoard your cash in dollars.
Nah.
Fantastic. I mean, on the back of this, the reason why the I&E window came through was because of lack of liquidity. And then we saw that in 2015, JP Morgan took Nigeria off its bond index. And then we're seeing that they might readmit Nigeria. What exactly is how will this affect us?
Well, affecting us is going to be positive if we are readmitted, given the fact that it speaks to investor confidence that, oh, okay, these guys were kicked off earlier, but now the JP Morgan thinks they are good enough to be readmitted into the bond index. So it's going to be positive for Nigeria, given the fact that there's going to be more inflow of foreign investors into the country. You know, truth be told, our government assets are still very, very attractive.
Yes.
You know, but the reason why we were kicked off earlier was same thing, because of the liquidity crunch, foreign exchange and the likes. So now that has been addressed, I think it's time that we are actually readmitted. So it's going to be positive, and it's going to be a good one for the country.
Yeah, it's a welcome development.
Yeah.
I mean, we're ready, and we hope that pulls true. You know, we've been talking about results this week. You know, on Monday we saw the banks. Yesterday we spoke about Lafarge. Now Dangote. Dangote came through. Just look at this Q1 results. A whooping 16.3% year-on-year turnover. That is like increase in turnover. I mean, we're talking about Lafarge yesterday, and it was relatively flat in Q1. We saw very high finance costs. But looking at Dangote is a different story altogether. So you tell me, last year their biggest driver was pricing. Is it going to be the same story this year?
Well, yes, because there has been a price increase. There has been a higher pricing. Pricing went up at about 5.3% year on year. So now we're about 43,000 plus naira per ton, as compared to 40,000 plus it was last year. So despite the fact that there were weaker volumes in their Pan-African operations, we think that the higher pricing has actually offset that decline in volume. And also, given the fact that the company is also moving to improve their energy use, they are trying to be more cost efficient. We can see that their costs actually increase at a slower pace than revenue. So that's to show that, oh, there's a lot of cost moderation, and they are moving away from using what's called LPFO, that's your low profile oil, and they're moving towards gas, which is a lot cheaper, you know, and is more efficient for them. So it's a positive one for the company. And we also think that this performance that they have shown in the first quarter of 2018 is actually going to be sustained up until the end of the year.
So are you buying Dangote stock?
Yeah, you should.
You know, I find this quite interesting, because even if you compare Dangote's performance in terms of this PE ratio to its other counterparts in Middle and East Africa, it is doing really well. All right, let's go to the brewery sector. Nigerian breweries, its revenue is down by 9.6%. Its finance charges is going up. This is quite a weak result. What's going on?
Well, it's a number of things. First of all, like you rightly said, their finance charges are actually increasing. That's to show that they are actually very leveraged, you know, so they are spending a whole lot of money financing their debt. And in addition to this, we've seen stiffer competition in the local market, especially in the southwest region, where international breweries and Guinness are competing for a very tightly packed market. And also, the company also reported that there was a decline in their volumes and in their production volumes, and we think that this is actually going to be a concern. And given the risks of heightened competition, that too has been one of the factors that has weighed down on their performance in the first quarter of 2018. But nevertheless, we still think the company is going to rebound, is going to be more profitable by the second quarter of 2018.
I just want to touch a bit more about the risk of competition. You know that there's a planned excise duty that is to be effective on the 4th of June. You know, on the same taxes the tobacco and the alcohol industry is going to experience this. So now what's going to happen in terms of pricing? Do you think they're going to pass the price to the consumers?
Well, passing the price to the consumer is not going to, like I said, given the fact that it's a very competitive market, you have to be very careful with how you price your products. Because if you're increasing your costs by 10% and the next person producing a very similar product is increasing his by 3%, automatically he may be able to pull out some part of your market share. So I don't think the companies are just going to pass the cost directly to the end consumers.
Even though there's a material increase in disposable income of consumers?
Well, that's very debatable. You can't necessarily say that there has been a material increase, you know. But at the end of the day, the fact is that these companies are going to come up with ingenious ways to actually make sure that they are that whatever extra additional costs they are going to incur on in the name of taxes from the federal government is going to be absorbed mostly by them. Yeah.
All right, so now out of the brewery sector, we hear for local production of vehicles. So Tata plans to kickstart a local production of its trucks in Nigeria.
Finally.
40% of those trucks are going to be produced in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Is this feasible?
Well, yeah, it is, given the fact that our automotive industry in Nigeria has it's been very negligent, you know, like people don't really pay attention to it. So the fact that they want to start assembling and not only assembling, they also stated that there would be some components of the trucks and the vehicles that would be manufactured in Nigeria. I think it's a confidence boost for Nigeria, and it's also going to at the end of the day trickle down to more confidence that, oh, okay, it's going to be an attraction for more foreign investors, you know. So if Tata is one of the biggest vehicle manufacturers, you know, so if they want to set up a plant in Nigeria and go ahead with production in, I think it's supposed to start by the end of the year or next year, yeah, so it's relatively good for the country, and also it's going to reduce cost, because now you're taking out cost of shipping and clearing and all that. So if those trucks were initially going to be sold for hypothetically 30 million, it could come down to maybe 25, 21.
I think a lot of Nigerians are going to be on the outlook to check, like, okay, now this is made in Nigeria. Where is the cost reduction? How do I profit from this?
Exactly. And also because of the fact that they are made in Nigeria, it sends some kind of signal like, okay, so these things are manufactured here. We have the confidence that we can do this. Nigeria should be making a move to shift away from being an import. We need to be self-sustained, and this is a good move towards
absolutely that. So we see Tata join other indigenous manufacturers like Innocent Motors. This is a welcome improvement. So thank you, Lagos, for tuning in. This has been so exciting to just take through the market. Thank you, Valiance.
And Yinka on WhatsApp was concerned about the EGT on beer, and worried if it's going to affect the pump price. Really?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't. But even if at the end of the day we're going to see an increase, it's going to be a very marginal increase in the price of beer. But I highly doubt that they would just as easily pass it on to the final consumers.
All right, thank you so very much, Valiance and Tosin. We're out of time. Make sure you catch Tosin. It's Tosin Olaseinde.
Tosin Olaseinde. At Money Africa, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Ah, that's cool. All right, coming up next at 7 o'clock is Frankly Speaking with Muyiwa Falabi Lagos. Keep it locked.
Business.